Nice.
Good evening, Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and I am joined, as always, with I got Jimmy the Don.
What's going on?
And Slotitup503 below me. They switched places
everybody?
to try to mess up my fingers, but I caught on.
I'm always
And
below
joining
Gary
us
B.
today on our show is none other than Sithlordly, a guy I've been wanting to get on here for a while.
What is going on? Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. So, Sith, just give a quick breakdown to the audience if we have anyone in here that may not know you, who you are, and about your YouTube channel. Just a real quick summation.
Yep. Sithlordly on Instagram at Sithlordly, and I run SpineTicks on YouTube, which is easy to find there. Just youtube.com/SpineTicks.
Nice.
All right, excellent. So the first question I am going to ask you, though, is about SpineTicks.
All right.
And how did you assemble the group you have there?
Well, you know, like all of us, right? I've been watching YouTube shows, hanging out in the chats. I was particularly close to TiVo at Lords of the Long Box, if you know that show.
Yep.
And, you know, he made me a chat moderator. I've met him in person, kind of grew with that community and decided, hey, you know what? I want to do this YouTube thing. So based on that, I reached out to different members of, you know, of the chat, picked Azor's Tiger, a guy named Roberto, who's from Kentucky. Jimmy, you'll like that. And Al Noir, who's from New England. I said, you three guys would be perfect on a show for me. Let's create this group. We threw a bunch of names out there. I kind of decided on SpineTicks because if you know Pressable Defects, right, it was a similar theme. And it was, I'm always kind of business marketing minded. And, you know, at every comic book auction, they're always holding up comic books saying, look at these Pressable Defects or these SpineTicks. And I was like, that'll be a memorable name. So, you know, we just ran with that.
And it's instantly recognizable in the comic community. So it definitely garners attention right away.
So my question is, how did T. Ravis get in there?
Well, yeah, you know what? I've got an affinity for Southern folks. We were talking backstage, right, about my lineage, and I knew T. Ravis was from Kentucky. So, you know, Jimmy, you're automatically my favorite guy now out of these three. Just kidding.
Awesome. There you go.
We're losing connection.
And I spotted, yeah, there you go. I spotted T. Ravis doing his channel, and I brought him on as a guest, actually.
No, T. Ravis is awesome. I give him a hard time. He's my fellow brother in blue, part of the Big Blue Nation, and Sith is an honorary member.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, my grandmother's from Kentucky, and I brought this bottle of Rebel Yell, unopened bottle.
Very nice.
Because I guess they don't make this logo anymore.
They don't.
In your honor. So there you go.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do want to talk to you about, and I wanted to get this, is I know you're a big collector in multiple things, and we'll get to that. But what I really want to know about is I found out recently that a big interest for you is ancestry. Can you talk about that a little bit and its importance to you?
Yeah, it's funny because I actually enjoy family history and just history in general more than comic books, if you can believe that. I kind of grew up cut off from my own family lineage because my mother's Japanese, and Slot and I have talked about our shared Japanese lineage, right? Yeah. I can't really, you know, speak Japanese or communicate with any relatives there. So I really didn't have any, you know, attachment to that. And then my father, his parents, well, his father died at a young age for my father, and his mother kind of left. So I knew that I had this grandmother from Kentucky, but I didn't know anything about the family. We knew nothing. And as technology improved and, you know, being able to trace things online became better, and I'm a kind of a computer guy, I was able to get in touch with living relatives, a 91-year-old cousin who was the caretaker of all of this family lineage from Kentucky and Virginia. And it was like Neo in the Matrix, right? Where he just downloaded Kung Fu. I kind of like I downloaded this family lineage that I've been wondering about my entire life in a very short period of time, and found out that, you know, I've got ancestors that go back to the founding of Jamestown in Virginia, where Pocahontas is there and kind of beyond. So it was really cool because I love history so much, to find out that my ancestors were tied into that history. It was like something in my DNA knew, and that's why I liked it so much. I don't know.
It's cool. Like learning about
What
your
part of
past.
Kentucky
Awesome.
did you say your people were from?
Several counties, but mostly Adair County, Barron County, Union, Greene, multiple counties out there.
So my family, the Kerrs, originate from Monroe County, which is close to all those counties. It's kind of on the southern border of the state, more out west, but on the southern border. And a lot of my family comes from Monroe.
Wow, that would be interesting. I feel like I've seen every surname in Kentucky, just from my lineage tracing. It would be interesting to see if we were distant cousins somewhere. I keep telling
my uncle was real big into that too. So I have somewhere here, when he passed, I have our family tree, and it goes all the way back to Germany. I think is where we originated from. Was in Germany. So, and they came over here. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
funny.
it's kind of interesting because I got this book right here. Thomas Walker. He explored Kentucky before it was a state, and he's my 8th great grandfather.
Wow.
Yeah, and he served in the Revolution, not as a fighting man, but more on committees and that sort of thing. The first cabin in Kentucky was his. There's a high school named after him. I never knew any of this stuff, but I've now been certified, kind of like you CG certify a comic book. You can CG certify your lineage, right? You have to provide records and documentation. So I actually belong to something called the First Families of Kentucky, based on my descent from him.
Ooh, beat that, Jimmy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Well, no, but I'm not a Kentucky colonel yet, unfortunately.
No, that's awesome.
Jimmy's like PGX certified, right?
That's right.
Oh, man.
Well played, sir.
By the way, I'm drinking water, not my Michelob Ultras, so we could have a good long hangout, and I don't, break the seal and have to take 15 pee breaks on you.
So
Yeah, family history is fun.
you shared some good pictures though too, like of that one guy. I can't remember what grandfather he was to you.
Oh yeah,
But he was a real regal looking dude.
well, you know how it was back then, right? If you're gonna take a photo, man, you got to get all dressed up and sit there for a while. It is really fascinating for me because I went from not knowing anything to now looking at actual photos of my ancestors, which is priceless to me beyond anything else, right? Just the family lineage. I'm really into that. It's funny because nobody else in my family is. It's like even my mom says, focus on the living, because I love the Japanese side as also, but, they don't really seem interested in it. And, I don't speak the language. It's kind of difficult to trace. Although I hear we have some sort of like a samurai lineage. And I know that I'm like one of the first like non-full Japanese, in that bloodline. So, but luckily my grandparents were cool. They loved me just the same.
There you go. So let's talk about collecting a minute, because I know you've collected coins, sports cards, comics. Yeah. There's nothing you don't collect. But I want to get into what you collect and also how Mrs. Sithlordly goes into that collecting too. Like,
yeah,
I get the idea that she's a big collector herself.
Yeah, she is. As a matter of fact, I put the Thing figure up there. Mrs. Sithlordly, actually, or we call her Lady Sithlordly, she came home with that action figure on her own. We're in a 2-bedroom condo, but we sleep in the living room like it's a studio apartment, and the bedrooms are used for the man cave and the she cave.
Nice.
And she has the master bedroom that's full of stuffed animals, pops, everything you can imagine. She has more collection stuff than I do. And she's just gotten into comics too. Kind of, reminds me of Super Jessie there, Slot. If I don't know your dynamic all that well, but I know that she collects. And so Lady Sith's very supportive like that as well.
Yeah, she's got her own stuff she collects. She's big into Walking Dead. She's big into any kind of zombie kind of thing. She's got her own little niche, but we have a lot of the same interests as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Lady Sith's been buying comics lately, and she just got some Boba Fett Star Wars variant that I passed on because I was like, I don't want to spend that money. She bought it and it arrived. I'm like, whoa, this looks good. I guess technically this is mine too, because we're together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gary,
every
does
time
your wife collect? Oh, sorry, Slot. Go ahead.
I was going to say every time we get
my wife is big into Pokemon and like watching the shows, playing Go. She plays it on the game systems. She's a big Harry Potter head, and
Oh, nice.
so she does read comics. Like I get her the picture of everything else, and she likes Eric Powell a lot, but not like I do.
You know, it's funny. I see Azor's in the chat saying we got to uncover the samurai lineage. That's why we're such good friends, because he's like more interested in my lineage, and I'm more interested in hip hop culture and things that are, you know, in his lineage. So we've got a good friendship there. We're interested in each other's stuff.
Oh, nice. Hey, that's
Yeah.
how it works, man. You got something to talk about, something you can teach each other.
Yep.
I need
Really
to dig-
stoked to see all my friends here in the chat, man. I see Phil and Ultra and Rude and everybody else, man. They're all showing up.
representing and showing love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to delve more into my lineage. Like I know that my grandfather came over. My grandfather and my grandma met over in Hawaii. My
Oh,
grandfather was in the Navy, and you know they met, and my dad came, and that's the story I know. But I know like there's so much more in my grandma's history that I would love to know. And I've looked into that. What is that? Ancestry.com and stuff like that. But I don't know how legit that is. And then I just kind of forgot about it, honestly. But I should probably look into that because it sounds like a lot of fun.
The nice thing is you have access to me, and I can find anything. You know, you mentioned Hawaii. Lady Sith is part Hawaiian Chinese. We sat down one night, and I traced her to the Mayflower in about an hour and a half. She never knew. They never knew that they descended from the Mayflower, that their ancestor was the pastor to the Pilgrims. And since that time, CGC certified their lineage by joining the Mayflower descendants group. So you never know what you're going to find in there. It's crazy.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's
See,
interesting.
Jimmy, you need to get CGC certified, buddy.
I know,
You
right?
can't wear Kentucky stuff no more, pal.
My
Yeah.
PGX, man, is not working.
No hair in the slab.
So talk to us about your different stages of collecting. Like you said, you
Oh,
were
man.
heavily into coins for a while, then in sports cards, now
Yeah.
comics. But what's
That's-
your main collecting passion? I'm sure there's more than those three too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it really, it's mood too, right? We all get into different phases. I've been collecting all my life. I'm like a buyer seller, because you know, like back in the day when you're poor, right? You sell what you got to buy something new. Even if you don't make money, you get, you know, you're not putting new money into it. Right now, I'm all in on hockey cards. It's my favorite sport. I love hockey, so I'm really like, you'll see me post hockey cards. I'm really, you know, there's certain comics I love, like the Bronze Age comics. That's my childhood. So I'm really, yeah. And T. Ravis and I, you know, we're all talking about that all the time. Particularly Star Wars and G.I. Joe, but the superheroes. And one of my favorite early bands when I was a kid was Duran, if you guys remember them. And
Dude, I grew
lately,
up on Duran.
yeah, man, I've seen them multiple times. Got a funny story about Simon at the Playboy Mansion. But I've been buying all these import vinyl singles of Duran lately. So
Wait, stop. Speak no further. Have you been to the Playboy Mansion?
I have, yes.
All right. Go ahead and tell me about that.
Okay. Well, jumping ahead to the music business, right? You can see back there, I worked in the music business. I got invited to a Duran concert. This was kind of their lean years, right? When some of their key members had left, right? It was just Simon and Nick of the original guys. And so the program director of K-Big, it's a big radio station here in LA, invited me out. And we took a tour of the Playboy Mansion. They have an actual room where the floor bounces, like, you know, bounces. I'm like, okay, interesting. And all of a sudden, right, as we're kind of walking around there, we hear this, everybody out, Simon is coming. And we walk out, and then there's Simon Le Bon, singer of Duran, walking all cool and casually with two ladies, and he passes us and he goes, "Hello, boys." And he's heading to that room. But then, yeah, of course, then we watched them perform. Ryan Seacrest was there before he really blew up. You remember Ryan Seacrest?
Oh, yeah.
I was wearing it was kind of like a pleather jacket. And I remember he like grabbed it, touched it. And he goes, "Is that pleather?" So yeah, it's just one of the perks of the music business here in LA.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the
Did
weather,
you
right?
see the grotto
Yeah.
and all that? You got the full on tour.
Well, there were no bunnies in there. It was, but it was, we took a look around. Mostly we're there for the music event, but it was definitely an experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell us about your 4 gold records.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Okay, so I've just launched a segment on SpineTicks called Comics with Rockers. where a good buddy of mine, he was the drummer of this band. He is the drummer of Ambrosia,
right? Yep.
Right? 5-time Grammy nominated. That's him. And I sit him down and we review comic books, because I think what's funnier than getting like a 70s classic rock drummer to read like these edgy modern indie books with, you know, all kinds of the inappropriate stuff and then get his opinion on it. And during our interview, we're talking and I said, you know, how many gold records does Ambrosia have? Right. And he said 3. And I'm like, okay, well, when you get the 4th, I'll welcome you to the 4 gold record platform. And it's just kind of funny because we have that kind of friendship, right? We've known each other for, I don't know, like 25 years. And so that guy back there, Jim Brickman, he's the kind of artist that your mothers and grandmothers would like. Is very easy listening adult contemporary piano music, but at the same time, he's the most charted adult contemporary male artist, instrumental artist or something like that I last saw. I stopped working for him around the year 2000, but during my tenure, we got 4 gold records, and my main job was to do radio promotion. So in each of your cities, right, you've got an adult contemporary radio station. I would be calling, you know, and I would be promoting the single. The single breaks in 2 weeks. You know, Jim Brickman. And, you know, we would do whatever we needed to do to get that going and, you know, put on concerts and everything else. It was a great time, man. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything.
Nice. And that's what we're finding. A lot of our guests have had some experience in the music industry.
Yeah. Well, it definitely translates to SpineTicks because, you know, I have like producer credits. I'm used to kind of running an operation. Plus I've been in bands as a musician all my life. So like running a YouTube show is very similar, right? I got, you know, panelists who would be like my drummer, guitar player, whatever. You know, we've got content, which would be like a song, producing the show. So I'm kind of thinking about, you know, the songwriting, like, you know, what does the audience want to hear, this and that sort of thing. Thanks, Marty. So, I mean, I definitely feel like I'm taking all of my music business and musician experience and putting it into SpineTicks. And that's kind of, you know, it's a playbook I've done all my life. So it's kind of like easy to do.
What instrument do you play? Or what instruments do you play?
Yeah, I mean, I sing, play synthesizer, guitar, and bass. The only instrument I do not play is drums, but Lady Sith plays drums.
Nice.
Nice.
And I actually, this is a funny story. I met Lady Sith on Craigslist. And I usually leave it at that, right? And people are like, what? But Lady Sith is also a singer, and she was looking for a band and a producer. And I just happened to be looking on Craigslist at the same time. And I was like, you know what? I want to party more. I want to drink more. I want to hang out. I want to play more lead guitar. I don't want to sing as much. She's a younger, like she'd make a great front person. Lady Sith looks like Shadecraft, that comic book. Right. You know, if you've seen that. And so I was like, this is perfect. I'll write all her songs. She could stand up there and look awesome. And I'll just party and be the brains behind the operation. So that's how we met.
Right. Let her be the front woman.
Yeah. But we don't do that anymore. But yeah, Lady Sith plays drums, and you know, I've jammed out with her. It's awesome. And her father is the most amazing guitar player. If you've watched SpineTicks, we always give a shout out to Alan and Carla. Her father is like this, like Eric Clapton style guitar player. So I definitely got into the right family. Yeah.
What's your favorite type of music? Like, what do you enjoy listening to?
Geez, everything. But it really depends on mood. And I know Slot's rearing asked me about hip hop. But you'd be surprised to find out it's not hip hop. Is not my favorite kind of music. I would say probably if I had to go to an island, it would probably be 80s new wave or 70s classic rock. My favorite music.
I can get down with that.
Me too. I'm the same way. I mean, I love hip hop, but I love music in general. Like I can get down with, you know, classic rock. I can get down with some blues. I mean, I get down with some country every now and then. You know, I mean, I just love music. It's just to me, music is one of the best things in the world. I like music, honestly, more than I like comics.
Well, that's one of the things that Slot and I constantly find out that we have more in common by our musical taste. Because there's a certain type of music I like. Slot's like, yeah, man, I love that song. Or, you know, he'll send me a meme with a Metallica. You know, I don't know. He's playing Metallica to the youngsters at the daycare. You know, that's it's constantly we find out something new about each other through music. Because I love music too.
Well, Jimmy, I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, what kind of music do you like? Do you know, is it metal or is it country? You know, but
it's both. I like metal. Like I like Metallica is my favorite band of all time. Rage Against the Machine. Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, a lot of that when I was in college, the 90s, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
But I also love old country like Hank Jr., George Strait, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson.
Oh, yeah.
I like
the
Brooks
Highwaymen.
Yeah,
Highwaymen, exactly.
Yeah, I like Brooks and Dunn. I like some of the newer stuff, Morgan Wallen. My daughters listen to Morgan Wallen a lot, so I that's how I know that. But yeah, no, I like hip hop. I pretty much like it all.
Well, that's good. Sounds like we're all in agreement. You mentioned country. Martina Mcbride is a huge country artist. Yeah. I actually own one of her albums because the highest charting song from Jim Brickman that I worked on was Valentine, sang by Martina Mcbride. So I really kind of liked that 90s country pop crossover where it wasn't too twangy with the ladies, like Faith Hill, Martina Mcbride, when they all came in the scene, because I love a great pop song, right? That's kind of music I personally wrote and had the most success with personally, getting radio airplay and things like that in my own career.
Who is Mike from SLC Punk?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I've heard the band name, but I haven't listened to the music.
Jimmy's all on that, and he's like, "Who is that guy?"
But yeah, Jimmy. Speaking of like Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, I got to see them at Lollapalooza in 1992 here in Orange County.
Me too, brother.
Really nice.
Not in Orange County, but it was in the city. I saw Soundgarden. I saw Pearl Jam about 3 years ago.
Nice.
I'm hitting up Louder Than Life this summer. Metallica's actually playing 2 nights. They're headlining 2 nights.
Wow.
Playing 2 different set lists. And then 9 Inch Nails. Snoop Dogg's playing. Like, I can't wait to watch Snoop Dogg. Jane's Addiction, Judas Priest, Seether. Who else? There's Stained. I mean, there's just a ton of bands. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah, it sounds like a great lineup. Yeah.
Yeah, like Eddie Vedder
all the time to watch my groups because all our concerts were in Canada. So I'd always go to Montreal, and we saw a lot of concerts in the old Montreal Forum where the Habs used to play before it was not a thing anymore. So that was always cool. It was one of the most decorated places we used to go there because that's back when the Habs would win a cup at least every 10 years.
Yeah, Patrick Waugh on the team and everything.
Oh,
man, I envy you just being able to go up to Canada, right? I mean, I would go on the hockey tour if I was that close.
We used to go all the time, and we'd get like 5 to 8 of us together, and we'd rent a limo, so none of us had to drive. The limo driver would park, and we could drink. And
here we go, Slot.
Oh, that's right. You're going to be the transporter.
Yeah, Gary is the maniac.
But it was fun. But one of the best concerts I ever saw was the B-52s, and opening for them was the Violent Femmes, and they were both spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're naming all the great bands. I mean, I can't say I don't like any of them,
Well, I used to see all the 90s metal bands, the hair bands like Motley Crue, Poison, Tesla. Used to go see all them all the time.
Yeah, I just ran Lady Sith through like an 80s hair metal YouTube tour. We're working at home, and I put on Rat, and then I put on Eddie Van Halen, then I put on Quiet Riot, and just the gamut of all those bands. I wasn't
Quiet
really
Riot.
Yeah,
bang your head, baby.
That wasn't really my jam when in the 80s. I was listening more like The Cure, Depeche Mode, things like that. But now I can appreciate more styles.
Well, I listen to them as well.
If it's got a hook, I'm in.
And the only thing I want to there's only one Van Halen though, and that's David Lee Roth Van Halen.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and they got their start not too far from where I grew up, in Pasadena over there. So I grew up in North Hollywood, so just about 10 miles away, if that.
That's funny. I worked over in I worked over by Bob Hope Airport, like literally.
Oh yeah.
That's where my office was.
Very similar. We have John Wayne Airport here in Orange County, which is close. Great airport to fly out of. So you can avoid the LAX mess if you fly into John Wayne, Orange County.
So I got to ask you about Star Wars because I know how big of a Star Wars guy you are. And you're always posting all this amazing Star Wars comics and not just comics, but books, memorabilia. Mm-hmm. What is your prize Star Wars possession?
Well, you're looking at it back there, the 12-inch Jar Jar.
And credibility lost.
Yeah, that's actually a joke because my LCS Nuclear Comics gave me that. I think no one else wanted it, and I actually like Jar Jar. So on SpineTicks, we always say, "Have you seen my 12-inch Jar Jar?" Seen it, and then finally I decided to put it up there. Now, I mean, gosh, when it comes to Star Wars, I mean, I got it all, right? The action figures, the sideshow figures, all the comics, the vinyl. Even there, you could see vinyl. I'm trying to point. I'm getting it all wrong. See that Shadows of the Empire back there? That's vinyl. Probably, I mean, well, there's a behind that Kentucky bourbon up there. There's a Dr. Afra 1 in 25 variant, which costs quite a bit. Thank you, AT&T, because I sold some stock and bought that. Not retirement, it's play money. Everyone gets worried. Oh man, Sith selling his retirement. No, I mean in terms of value, that would be the most valuable. But I don't know. I couldn't really say any one thing. I love it all. The novels to me are fantastic. Right, I'm huge into the Star Wars expanded universe. Before Disney took over, right?
Yes.
Yeah, nullified it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's certain things I like out of the Disney canon, like Afra, Rebels, things like that. But I mean, I grew up with that whole Star Wars expanded universe. I've read something like over 100 novels. I got the role-playing games. I got the video games. It's like recently, I don't know if you heard about it, but an author who was contracted to write a licensed novel in '92 finally self-published that novel that was never released by Lucas. And it like hit the top 20 on Amazon. Wow. Before Disney put the kibosh on it, right? And then that novel went to the secondary market on eBay and started selling for $300 for an actual novel. So that novel, the non-canon novel, outsold anything that Disney had been putting out. It was wild. It's called Heart of the Jedi, I believe. Yeah.
But did you get yourself one?
You know what? I mean, I looked at a few. Believe me, I was like, am I going to spend $300 on this novel? They have it online for free where you can read it.
Oh. Okay.
But I do like downstairs. I've got a bookcase full of these Star Wars novels. I mean, that's all memories to me. Slot. It sounds like similar for you too. I mean, like today, yeah. I literally just as I'm working, I spend 3 hours just watching cutscenes from video games. Like when you're playing video games, they got the cinematics, and I would put, like Dark Forces or Jedi Outcast, and as if it's a movie, right? Somebody has compiled the cutscenes and you just play that while I work. So, yeah, I think just the expanded universe by Star Wars, the original expanded universe, that is the most treasured Star Wars thing to me, and you can't put a monetary value on it.
I mean, they had the best painted covers on some of those old novels.
Yeah.
Those paperbacks and stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, I haven't sold a single Star Wars thing during this monumental pump, right? Because, I mean, obviously we all know Star Wars has gone way up. And I have multiples. And I have not sold one Star Wars thing. And believe me, I could. So, I mean, I think that tells you what that
That's
means.
A fan.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
A fan.
Yeah.
That's okay. I have a motto for myself. It's Gary doesn't share Conan. And for you, it can be Sith doesn't share Star Wars. It all makes sense.
Yeah. That is not true, Gary. I have seen you A-OK Conan.
Yeah, just but saying. I had 4 other copies or 5 other copies of what I A-OK'd somebody. I had backups of my backups of my backups.
Gary has definitely caused me to spend money because all this Conan talk, I went and binged and bought a bunch of Conan because I never collected it as a kid. I should have, but I had Gary and Matt Woods on the channel about 2 months ago, and they were talking Conan. It was an awesome talk, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I know how it is to spend money because of Gary and Conan. I've got a whole box back there full of Conan, a couple $100 worth of comics because one day I decided, hey, I want some Conan books too.
I would say Jimmy would cause me to spend money, but I already got all the Soundgarden and Pearl Jam CDs, so I'm good there.
Right. Eddie Vedder's great, though. I love Eddie Vedder's probably I know Jimmy's going to crucify me. I love Metallica overall, the band. But dude, Eddie Vedder as a front man, he can get up on that stage and he just takes control of the audience. He's just amazing for me.
Hetfield's my man, of course, but I agree. Vedder's a great front man. Scott Weiland was probably my favorite front man of all time. I love Scott Weiland.
Weiland was great. I never got to see him in full concert, but I was one time having lunch at the House of Blues where they were going to perform that night, and I got to see their sound check. So
first time I ever saw him or saw them was in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. My best friend was going to pharmacy school there. And he called me and said, hey, drive down here. STP's here. Disturbed opened up for him.
Oh, nice.
And that was when Weiland was, I mean, like legit cracked out of his mind.
Oh, man.
And he was this big around, and he had a purple mohawk. And he went nuts. Like, it was phenomenal. Like, it's one of the best concerts live that I've ever seen. I mean, it was so good. And, I mean, he got the crowd so ramped up. We were like in an amphitheater outside. That place was shaking.
Wow.
Because he just went insane. Like, it was phenomenal. I would love to see Velvet Revolver. I did not get to see them. Love Velvet. But yeah, Weiland probably for me. But I agree, Slot. Eddie Vedder is a phenomenal frontman.
Yeah. You know, we also didn't mention Alice in Chains.
Oh yeah,
they were. Yeah.
Lane Staley was one of the best frontmen ever too.
Definitely. I mean, him and Jerry Cantrell together and the harmonies and everything. Because I bought some of Jerry Cantrell's solo albums too, the guitar player, songwriter. And those two had magic. I don't know if you guys ever watched that movie Singles. That was like, with that whole Seattle soundtrack. Man, I still got that soundtrack. And, it just when all those bands were really hitting their peaks, man, it was great stuff.
I saw Chains in Evansville, Indiana on, the name. I forget what tour it was, but I saw them, and it wasn't long after that Lane passed away. And I saw Jerry front Alice in Chains. They opened up for Metallica. And then I saw Nirvana once. That was in Lexington at Rupp Arena. And then I saw the Smashing Pumpkins. Smashing Pumpkins is one of the funnest shows I've ever been to. That was a hoot. I had a good time at that one.
Yeah, I got lucky to see Smashing Pumpkins over at the Palladium in LA, which is a smaller venue. This was like right before that second album hit, around that time, right before they really blew up. I was early on Pumpkins. You mentioned Nirvana. I had the greatest Nirvana CD collection, like before the internet was really a thing, when you actually had to go to record stores and try and find an import. I mean, I had like 30 different like Nirvana albums, like from Japan, this, that, and the other, that you couldn't just go put in your eBay cart. It was, early on. And I miss being able to go to those music stores and like, what am I going to find? It was almost like LCS, box digging, right? Like, am I going to find a key issue? Am I going to find an import CD? That was great.
I miss that. I miss being able to go to a store and look for music. I miss that a lot.
I do too, Slot. I used to love to do that, man. I used to love and go look for old albums. And look at that. See,
that's why I've been enjoying buying vinyl lately.
But see,
that's coming back.
That's out of Nirvana is the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters.
Yep, Foo's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So I worked at Capitol Records. The famous tower. That's how I got my music break. Is that I got to work in the Capitol Records tower, and I got an advanced copy of that Foo Fighters CD when it first came out. It was a cassette, and I played the hell out of it before it actually came out, and it was just amazing. Like, I love those first two Foo Fighters releases in particular.
And he was just buried in the background. It's amazing because I don't know, Foo Fighters are. So I got three groups, well, in a single guy, but that I never got to see. That were my Grail concerts I wanted to see. I never got to see Prince. I always wanted to see Prince because I grew up on Prince. I'm a huge Prince fan. I never got to see Kiss, and I never got to see Queen because Freddie Mercury died before I got to see Queen. Those are my three Grail concerts I never got to see. What's a Grail concert or artist you never got to see perform?
Man, as much as I love Nirvana, I never got to see him, which is insane. So I would have to say Nirvana. I mean, okay, the Cars. You remember the Cars band?
Oh yeah, Rick Ocasek.
Yeah, but
that's the only Cars, by the way.
The Cars with Benjamin Orr, right? The bass player, the blonde-haired guy. Just what I needed.
Oh yeah.
Because those two sang together. The only time I've ever in my entire life been in a cover band, because I'm a musician, I write my own music. The only time I was ever in a cover band was in the Cars cover band. That's how much I love them. Yeah. So I did see the Cars, but minus Benjamin Orr. I would have loved to have seen Benjamin Orr. And I mean, the Beatles, of course, right? I mean, but then now that opens up the doors. Pink Floyd, right? I mean, it's like,
Pink Floyd, Waters.
Right.
Pink Floyd was great too, man.
Yeah.
Because Bowie's another one I would have loved to have seen.
Yeah. And the fun thing is when I worked at Capitol Records, I got to work in what they call the catalog publicity department. So whenever they would do reissues, like a new Beatles reissue or Pink Floyd reissue, I got to work on that product and be part of that release. So like, in addition to them paying me a little bit of money, I would get to go raid the cabinet and take all, like the demos home and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely a good time. And what would be funny is like the old rockers who used to be signed to Capitol Records would call in sometime, right? Like there's a band called Badfinger. I don't know if you've heard of them, but yeah, their song is at the end of Breaking Bad. Remember? One time one of their guys called in, right? Trying like, hey, like his glory days are gone, but he's trying to reach someone at Capitol Records, and he gets me, the lowly catalog publicity guy. Or there's a band called Peter and Gordon that Paul McCartney really helped launch in the 60s. They sang songs that, McCartney wrote that sound just like Beatles songs. That Gordon Waller called in sometimes. So a lot of fun stories, at Capitol Records back in the day.
Now,
is there a Capitol Records in, I think is it Ventura, Oxnard area?
I'm sure they got to have offices all over. The one I worked at was the Big Tower in Hollywood.
So I think I remember seeing one there off the 101, actually.
Yeah, who knows now with COVID, right? And part of the reason I don't even work in the music business anymore is because of digital downloads, right? When Napster came out and all that sort of thing, that really changed the entire music business, right? Guys like me who are working, radio promotion. I worked directly for Jim Brickman. I was part of his management team, but we were on a very small label, and then a big label came and, bought him out, and then they had their own staff, and, digital downloads changed. What's up? That's my twin right there, actual Dracula hockey twin. I love that guy. So it's like, music, I saw the writing on the wall with music, and I got out, the music business around the year 2000.
That's right, Caps. Lars was right. Everybody hated him at the time, but he was right. No, I was trying to think who for me, who I would have loved to see now, because I saw a lot of bands. Like, that's what we did for fun, is we would go to concerts, and we would go to big festivals every year. And, I was actually at a show at Kentucky Speedway. It was called Summer Sanitarium. It was a big stadium tour that Metallica did. And James Hetfield actually got hurt on a jet ski.
Oh, damn.
And couldn't play. And so all the other bands fronted Metallica that night. The lead singers, like System of a Down, their lead singer, Kid Rock, Powerman 5000's lead singer. Who else was there? Korn. Nice. Like, they all fronted for Metallica that night and sang Metallica songs. And so it was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And then Metallica came and played a free show in Rupp Arena. And we got to go and watch that. But the one, Slot, I was thinking of you. I always wanted to watch NWA.
Oh, yeah. That would have been great.
Yeah. And, but I was in high school then. Like, I was pretty young. My parents didn't even know I had the Eazy-E album or the Straight Outta Compton album. But
that's
like, I always wanted to see NWA. And I got to see Cube. Nice. I got to see Cube when I watched GNR at Louder Than Life. Ice Cube played, and that was like a bucket list thing for me. I wanted to see Cube so bad.
I seen the Up in Smoke tour in LA when I was out there.
That's awesome.
Good. I would have to say then, Eazy-E too, because I would say, to me, Eazy-E transcended music. He was a businessman, right? He was like, talk about a guy who created, opportunities. There was a documentary, remember when they were trying to shut down rap music, and Eazy-E even met with George Bush the Elder at the White House to talk about it, right? It's like, that they were really influential. And I grew up in LA at that time. So when hip hop, particularly Eazy-E and NWA hit, I was like 16 years old. I was right there, and my high school years did suffer a bit because I partied a lot and I barely made it into college, thank goodness. But yeah, I remember one time going to Sports Center bowling on Ventura, and Eazy-E was there with his family. And he was bowling, and he was wearing all his gear. And, I didn't want to disrupt the guy. He was like my hero back then, but he was with his family. So I didn't go up and like, oh, hey, what's up, Eazy-E? They call me Sleazy Steve. I didn't want to. I just kind of watched from afar, but, definitely
classy a little bit, right?
Yeah. The way I kind of look at hip hop is like, you watch like mafia movies and stuff, right? There's a lot of violence, but it's a genre. To me, like, gangster rap is like a genre. It's kind of like entertainment. you know,
Right.
very similar, but I have to be in the mood for it. And I tell you what is that, you know, this may be where Slot's going, but I'd been on a hip hop overload during COVID because as a musician, I want to play music in a band for people, but during that whole time I could not play or jam or anything. So if I'm listening to a lot of bands that I like, I want to play guitar and I'm going to go crazy not being able to. I cannot rap at all. So I put on a lot of gangster rap that I love back in the day, and it doesn't make me want to play guitar, right? So it kind of like kills that urge for me and kind of gets me through that quarantine period. But I did make the little intro beat for SpineTicks when you hear the little hip hop intro beat. So I kind of got into some of that kind of electronic hip hop, you know, around that time.
Oh, nice.
But I've always
Eazy-E was the man. Eazy-E was one of my favorites as growing up in high school, like NWA to me. And then I was a huge fan of Wu-Tang too, growing up as a kid. But I mean, like Eazy-E, like I didn't even like the Raiders, but I had a Raiders hat. I had a Raiders, you know.
See, that says LA Raiders.
Yes.
Right? Because that's a lifestyle. I liked Eazy so much that when he feuded with Dre, like I took it personally. I didn't listen to Snoop, man. Like to this day. So like I actually got out of hip hop music. I mean, number one, I was kind of getting in trouble and I had to, right? Because you know, the police were like, hey, kid, settle down. I had to stop listening. So I like don't listen to like hip hop past like say 93 or so. I just, you know, got out of it and went into the music business and kind of went into a different genre of music. But yeah, Eazy was always my guy.
Nice.
I loved Eazy, and Eazy was, you know, he kind of set the path for the Jay-Z's and the and those guys, the music moguls, you know, those guys who were rappers, and that's what Eazy did.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't get all the respect he should.
I agree.
You know, and for me, I mean, that's why I'm always buying Eazy-E vinyl. It's always arriving. I got all the singles and stuff like that. To me, you know, I love all of the NWA members, but Eazy-E is my guy.
Oh, yeah, and you post about it a lot too on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure.
He was the best member, I think.
Yeah, and most interesting story to me, you know,
by far. He didn't even fancy himself as a rapper. Everybody else thought they, you know, and
well, if you listen to him, he kind of talked. You know, I mean, it was just his voice. I don't know, man. Who do you want to see? Easy.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, I love that so much. I just loved him. And I was like a 12-year-old kid listening to Eazy-E, and I thought it was the greatest thing. A 12-year-old kid in the hills of Eastern Kentucky listening to Eazy-E, and they couldn't be two more different places in the universe.
Yeah.
You know, and I loved him so much.
Yeah, I mean, and imagine living in LA when all that was going down. I mean, I was like right there, which was great. So yeah, it definitely was, you know, and then the DOC, do you guys remember the DOC?
Yeah.
When he came out, like, they were like, you're not going to believe it. You love NWA, listen to the DOC. And like, he was like the Michael Jordan of rapping, man. His flow was amazing. And then he got in that horrible car accident where he kind of like crushed his larynx and he couldn't do another album. But man, I mean, I got his vinyl in here too, man. I got it all right here. What's interesting, I'm not a big Everlast fan, but this is Ice-T, and he had the Syndicate Posse, right? And Everlast was in this video. So if you go put this up on YouTube, Everlast is there, like wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and acting a fool.
So are you a pure vinyl guy then, or?
No, I'm not. I mean, I'll listen to the CDs in the vehicle, but I just love putting the vinyl on. This guy, Donald D, was part of Ice-T's crew, and he is on Instagram, and he is just a super cool dude. Like, he's, you know, following me, interacting, you know, I tag him in posts. Donald D, man. So I just love it when these guys are still accessible. So, nice. And he's in this video here too, on this record.
Ice-T was another good one.
Everybody's still just a person, man. If someone's talking to them, it's nice when they talk back and they're just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, no, but I had to kind of get out of, that scene, man, because again, living in LA, where, I mean, you can look on my old photos, man. I was dressed as I am now, you know, with the Raiders hat on, and, you know, I mean, I've gone through all my various changes, and if I'm at a music business event, I'm wearing a sport coat and things like that. But I mean, I got into some bad crowds, and I had to kind of change my ways. So part of that meant put this music on hold for a while because it was really hyping me up.
It does hype you up. It's easy to get hyped up with it.
Yeah,
so I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays it's cool. I listen to it, and Lady Sith will just look at me and laugh, and sometimes Lady Sith will rap to our dogs. Like she'll sing, we'll sing like Eazy-E songs to the pups. It's funny.
So, but you can't rap, but she can.
Lady Sith is really talented. I mean, she's like a dancer, a drummer. I mean, she's got all those like Twitch coordination skills. She's great.
See, I think all of us on this panel can say that our wives are far better than us.
Yeah, and she's much younger than me. She's about 17 years younger than me. So
yeah, my wife
I definitely outkick my coverage.
10 years younger.
Yeah, Super Jesse's younger than me, and yeah, I definitely outkicked my coverage. So
I want to see some more of that vinyl. What else you got? What else do you have there?
Oh man, I got more over there, which would be like Duran and Depeche Mode and all that. But I grabbed this for Slot.
Nice.
So you got Easy Does It. We got this is one of the singles.
Nice.
Just to let you know.
Just to let you know.
I
What do you
really
think
like
of his
this
son.
one. Yeah. He's got a few sons. Lil Easy.
Lil Easy, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. I'm hoping to break, and kind of put something out. Love the blue color of this one.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then you remember when the East Coast guys, because I like East Coast too, they had the Stop the Violence movement, Self-Destruction with KRS-One.
Oh, love KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions.
Yeah, we go down like a nostalgia trip.
Cool Mo D, Heavy D's on here, right? You got the Express Yourself. Like if you watch SpineTicks, right, we incorporate a lot of these NWA like clips and stuff on the show. It's fun.
Express yourself.
Yep. We got out of Pomona, Above the Law. So they were, like a Dr. Dre group. And then of
You
course,
ever heard of Sugar Free? He's out of Pomona too.
Oh, really? No, I have not. Got the DOC here, and I showed you the other two. If you want me to grab more, I can, but that'll be like your Durans and Depeche Modes and classic rock stuff.
And what about the guilty pleasure vinyl that you don't like to let people know about that you listen to?
Yeah, right. The 70s love songs. Yeah, I do have Firefall. I don't know if you remember that band, You Are the Woman. They were like, it's like Ambrosia. So, wherever I put that Ambrosia, I mean, like people would call this like cheesy love songs. But what's interesting about Ambrosia, besides the fact that I worked with them and promoted their records, when they first started, they were a progressive band. Like, I mean, they were like playing incredible, interesting time signatures and music. They did a cover of Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour. And then they started writing kind of these pop hits, and the labels were like, yes, more of that, please. And they call him Joe Fro. Joe Fro, he actually wrote songs as well as Dave Pack. They were both lead singers, but the labels liked him more, I guess. And they said, hey, you're the guy. And so these guys are currently a band, and he's not with them. Not since the 90s when I promoted one of their comeback single to radio. I am telling Burley I want him back in the band, and we'll see if that happens, and then I will promote the hell out of this to radio.
Nice.
I will get back on board for that, because even though I left the music business, I've done a lot for Burley and Ambrosia, booked them interviews, done stuff, kind of come out of retirement for that sort of thing.
So is the music business still the same? Like I would think, especially with the way it is now, like you were promoting, like you would call up the radio stations and say, hey, we've got this company. Does that stuff still go on?
It's different. Okay. Back in the day, here's how it kind of worked, right? The Billboard chart, right? These are representative radio stations whose airplay counts for the Billboard chart. And you're not really getting much headway with New York, Chicago, LA, right? Unless you know them. You might get in somewhere with like Louisville, right? Or these outlying places. What my strategy was, I've directly translated this strategy in how I book comic book writers on SpineTicks. I would contact all the radio stations that nobody is contacting. Talking about like Green Bay, smaller places, because nobody is contacting them. And I would hang out with them, become their pals genuinely. And they would be like, oh my God, Jim Brickman guy is calling and hanging out. He's sending me free CDs. He wants to do a concert here. Because one day Billboard would select them to become a reporting radio station, and then everyone would call them. And I'm already there as their pal for a year. It's a similar approach with comic book writers. I'm not getting to Scott Snyder. I'm not getting to, all these DC and Marvel guys. But I love these indie books that people like, you've had Ted Sikora on, you had Carla Nappi, you had Jason Douglas, right?
Right.
They're really cool people, and we interact with them, kind of like those small radio stations. And that's kind of like I'm translating that. So to answer your question, Jimmy, I think it's much different now because a lot of it has to do with, the whole music business is different. Labels are different. Electronic music is different. When I've kind of jumped back in, I am still able to call small radio stations and book interviews and things. I'm still able to, like, if I know that Ambrosia here, if they're going to somewhere in Kentucky, I can call that radio station and say, hey, look, you probably play them. We got a concert going on. How would you like an interview with this guy? And I'll give you 10 free tickets to the concert. Just, go ahead and promote the show. That part is still the same.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I always wondered how that worked.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Then you hear these stories about payola, right? Where they're like, here, I'm going to write you a check for $2,000. Some of that stuff went on. Typically, like when you hear, 2 tickets to Hawaii, radio stations giving away, usually the label is giving that to them, right? There's kind of exchanges and things like that. There's scratch your back kind of stuff. But for me, a lot of the time, by calling some of these mid or smaller markets, I was bringing talent in and giving them a concert, and they would give me support. It was kind of a mutually beneficial thing. Later on, like New York, LA, those markets would come in at the end when the record that I'm promoting is already on the chart, top 10 or something like that. I mentioned.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said, that Martina McBride song that Super Jessie had mentioned, right? That she loves. That song peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart. By that time, when you're number 3 on the chart, bigger radio stations are now coming in saying, okay, I'm on board. You proved yourself, but they're not going to jump in when you're like number 50.
Did your band ever play very big venues, or were you guys just kind of clubbing it out like the bands you were in?
Yeah, like I'm half and half, right? So I did the music business where I found most success as a businessman, but my most successful band that I was in was, remember in the 90s when lounge came back, swing and all that stuff, Big Bad Boozy Daddies, all that stuff. I helped found a band that sounded like Twin Peaks meets lounge, right? I myself brought in kind of like the mysterious David Lynch element, and then the other guys were kind of like snapping the fingers like, hey, daddy-o. And so we made a very interesting mix. We got to play Anne Rice, the novelist, the horror novel. Yep. Right. Yep. We got to play her Lestat Halloween Bash in New Orleans, House of Blues. That was incredible, man. So we flew in for that. They already knew her, so that was really cool because I love those Interview with the Vampire, all those vampire books. Got to play Viper Room. I said on SpineTicks how I bummed a cigarette off Dave Grohl there because he happened to be at my Viper Room gig, not to see me, but he was just there. And after my performance, I was like, sitting next to him on the couch, not part of his conversation, but I was like, hey, man, back then you could smoke. And, I was in my 20s. I was like, yeah, I can have a cigarette. That was a great show. So we did a lot of those kinds of shows. I remember, Lori Loughlin, the Full House lady who went to jail. She was at one of the shows with Massimo. I remember we shook hands and her hands were very cold, but very nice lady. I used all my music business connections to get that band a record deal under Brian Setzer from Stray Cats, his manager's label. But then I couldn't get along with those guys, and they kind of like backstabbed me a little bit, and I kind of left the band. They went on to kind of go on to some fame, I guess you would call it, but they didn't really make any money because they had to recoup the costs. From the label usually front you money, and then you have to kind of pay it back with album sales and things like that before you start to make money. So, gotcha. But personally, like I got on the radio here in LA and Jacksonville, Florida, of all places. But I really love the business side too. That's why I really like SpineTicks, not only as the producer and host of SpineTicks, but I also like doing all the production and the business side of it. I really love business.
Now, did you ever play with either of the groups you were in? Did you ever play house parties?
Oh yeah, the backyard parties and things like that. Sure, that was a lot of fun.
We used to have this 2-story house that me and a bunch of guys rented. Everybody called
Here
it
he
the
goes
penthouse.
again, Jimmy.
I know.
Party
Party time.
Stop. we used to have the local bands come in and play. We'd have a big party there. But I was curious if you ever did something like that, because sometimes that's fun too. I mean, they were there. They were drinking for free all night, eating whatever we put out, just having a blast. And
those are my favorite kind of shows because it was really intimate. You know what I mean? Like I hadn't played a house party in so long. The last gig I did was probably 2015, kind of before I punched out. I kind of say I retired from being like all the music you hear on SpineTicks is all mine, but it's like recorded stuff. In fact, this drummer here, right, again from Ambrosia, he's my personal drummer. So when I need a drum track, you know, he just sends me. I used to go to his studio and we would record it together, right? In fact, if you listen to my Comics with Rockers clip on the Sithlordly channel, the intro music is him and I on my album with him.
And I've watched that twice now, and I didn't catch it. So
yeah, he actually produced and drummed on my first record.
Oh wow!
But you know, everything now, I mean, if I'm just doing it for SpineTicks or whatever, I just use electronic drums and just kind of sketch it out. I haven't recorded anything new just because of just the energy setting. Like my whole room is full of comics and I have to set up a studio in here and everything. And I just I haven't felt musically inclined, you know, at all, which is interesting. Yeah. I thought about, you know how like your favorite artists kind of stop making records,
right?
Or if they put them out, then they're lackluster. I don't want to be that guy that like writes half-ass songs, right? And I was thinking the other day, like, why do these guys stop? And as I was driving the LCS, I was like, because I'm damn tired. I'm old. I feel some aches and pains.
Feel it anymore.
Yeah, I don't like, you know, you give me a bunch of beers, that's how you can prop me up on SpineTicks, and I can go for 5 hours and be like, hey, how's it going? This is Sithlordly. Yeah, make jokes. But, you know, like to me, YouTube has become my new gig instead of going on a stage and performing, you know, and more people watch me on YouTube than they ever did in the band. So, and actually by proxy, more people have heard my music on SpineTicks than they ever would have at the club. So,
well, and then you can just shut off YouTube and go right to bed and you're all set.
Yeah, there you go. So you see Phil's comment? Phil, and this is a good time. Phil and I are going to be launching a Hallmark YouTube channel. And you say, what the hell, Hallmark? Are you for real?
That's what I was thinking.
This is going to be our first review, Bridal Wave. Okay, go with me here. So you know how you have the MCU? There's a Hallmark universe, right? And the other day I was thinking, well, is there a website? Who catalogs the Hallmark universe, right? And then I thought, we have all these comic book review and live shows. Nobody is doing that in Hallmark. But they have such a huge fan base.
They do.
And at first, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to take some comic book dudes to review Hallmark movies? Like that would be kind of funny, right? Yo, what'd you think of Bridal Wave? You know, like as a gag. But the more like Phil and I talked about it, I'm like, you know what? This could be an actual thing because like I created an Instagram. I started posting, and the actual like actresses from various Hallmark films are like interacting with the post. Probably because nobody else is doing this. So again, as a businessman, I'm thinking, you know, I love business challenges. That's the thing. I mean, Lady Sith loves Hallmark. That's the truth of it. But I love a business challenge. So I was like, you know, hey, you know, let me review this. Let me build this up and see, you know, what this is all about. This is going to be kind of funny.
What's funny is the Hallmark thing you said having a big following. Me and Super Jesse last summer did a lot of buying and selling it from garage sales and stuff. And there was a few movies that we bought at garage sales that were Hallmark movies that like you would think would be like dollar movies. And then you look them up when you get home and they're like $30, $40, $50 movies.
Bro, I'm telling you. Okay, so that's what this was, right? This one here, that Phil says he'll get the babes. This was like a spec movie, right? This was like 40, 50, but you could not get this. Now, recently, apparently they reissued it, so you can get this for like $10. People get a volunteer for blindness. People miss the window, but yeah, to me, this is like a lark. It's like fun. It's like a business challenge. Hey, can I? You know, because again, you know how I use the music business blueprint to do SpineTicks, right? Same pattern, just a different product. Instead of music business, it's comic books, and now Hallmark. I'm just kind of replicating these things as a business challenge because I love the challenge.
You all realize now that Sith is going to blow up as a Hallmark channel, right? I mean, because you're talking about underserved markets, right? That's business. You try to find an underserved market.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking care. It's what I did in my business, is in my area.
Nice.
Nobody was doing what I did. So I learned how to do it, and I made a business out of it. And you're going to be the biggest Hallmark channel in the world. I'm calling it.
Well, Jimmy, I'm looking forward to you coming on the channel.
I will
Hallmark
100% come on and review a Hallmark movie with you.
Awesome.
100%.
Yes,
man.
100%. Tissue boxes now too.
You guys are there. And so, like, you see Phil, who's one of the SpineTicks panelists, right? His production values are amazing. He has, like, he's already bought the great background for, like, all of it. Like, so our back, like, instead of Jar Jar back there, it's going to be like more Jim Brickman and maybe some lineage. You know how, like, in Hallmark, they're always finding their royal, like the prince or somebody, right? I got all kinds of, like, royal stuff over here. So I'll just replace the background. It'll be the same format. The hat will come off. My hair is actually really long. I mean, look at this right here. And you think I have a mullet, but I don't. It's just my hair's tucked in there. When I take it out, I look like Berserker. I look like Keanu Reeves in Berserker. And so, like, it's going to be interesting to, like, kind of comb that up and be like, put on the sport coat and be like, hi, this is, you know, Steve, right? Because I'm not going to be Sithlordly, right? I'll be Steve, you know. I'm Steve and I'm Phil. And today we're going to be discussing. It's going to be fun.
No, you're talking Hallmark. You got to be Stefan.
That's true.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
We're going to do live shows too. So I'm sure we're going to get a fair amount of trolls in there. And I'm going to see, like, how long I can go without busting up laughing.
Right.
You're going to be huge with the Cameron crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, and my other thought is this. Another show I want to do is one with pets. Okay. Because think about it. There's, like, a cat lady out there who's probably got like 50,000 subs. Who is doing this kind of show about pets and pet products? You know, imagine Slot sitting there with his cat and Jimmy with his pup and Gary with his bird and be like, yo, so what kind of pooper scooper did you get this week? You know, oh yeah, I got this great kitty litter. We all have our pets and stuff, just as for fun, right? So, like, I want to do the pets channel too.
Genius.
There you go. I'm all about the business opportunities.
I love it.
It's almost like an episode of, like, UHF from back in the day of Weird Al with all of the weird shows he was doing.
Yeah, man. One of them is going to hit.
One of them is going to be a big one. Yes.
Oh, it's the Hallmark one. That is
absolutely.
I'm telling you, dude, that is a big, big market that nobody caters to.
All the people stuck at home.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, when we found those movies and realized, why is this Hallmark movie that I've never heard of selling for $50? But, like, these big hits that just came out are like $3 movies.
Yeah.
It's because those people that, there's a big following for
I hate
Hallmark
to tell you, Gary being Slot, but I'm 100% leaving the usual suspects and joining the Hallmark channel.
There you go, man. We'll have you guys on the hot seat. We'll have you guys on the Hallmark hot seat. You know,
Hallmark hot seat.
He's leaving because we're going to create our own Hallmark drama, and then you're going to have to review our breakup and our get back together. On
I love it.
We'll have
I love it. That's perfect.
We should do our own. It should be the soap opera.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
We'll review soap operas because that's got a huge following.
Well, and think about this, right? So I go to the LCS, and they're aware of our comic book show. I don't know, like, where you guys are, if you're LCS. Like, Gary, I know you've gone into your LCS. So my LCS fully backs SpineTicks. They even sell our shirts. There's a Hallmark store right over there. Once Hallmark Universe gets going, I go in there, and the nice grandmother back there is like, you're on YouTube? Right? I mean, like, that store is going to be supporting us, man.
Absolutely.
They'll be selling Hallmark Universe shirts in there.
And I think you're missing out if you don't tap into the Danks comics and his take on Hallmark. I think you're missing out if you don't get in there.
I have not seen Dank's take on Hallmark. Was it a comment in the chat?
Oh, no. I'm saying that you need to get his take on Hallmark movies. I think you're missing out if you don't.
Okay. He might do martial arts on them. I don't know.
Well, I know, right?
Now, speaking of martial arts, didn't you say you had a funny story about martial arts?
I do. Okay, so first of all, I want to say I enjoyed your hot seat with Dank last week, was it? And I watched it today, and there was a lot of martial arts discussion, and that brought back to memory. So, you know, growing up in LA, we had the Chuck Norris Studio City Karate. Studio City is it's a big city here. I know, Slot, you probably heard of Studio City. Yep. A lot like, you know, I think it's CBS is there. It's a nice big city here in LA. and I went to the Chuck Norris studio. And so I must have been, I don't know, like 14 years old. You know, there's a grouping of us students, and I was one of like the older of the grouping of students, and we were going to have a tournament against the other studio that was like kind of more like where you were, like Granada Hills area.
Mm-hmm.
And all I knew was that this was my first karate tournament, and I was kind of like king of my dojo, but I heard that at this other studio there was a kid who was unbeatable, and like they put the fear in all of us about this kid. And on top of it, you know, he was deaf, and they said that to overcome that disability, he put all of his effort into karate. So I was like we were all afraid of this kid, right? And so we had the tournament with that other school, and guess who drew him first? Me. So we're all there, right? And like, you know, we're thinking, because it's kind of like you have to fight and fight and fight and fight. So I drew that kid, and I put him down, right? I beat him, and I was like, this is amazing. I like beat him. And then like there were other kids that I fought, and I was just throwing them around like rag dolls, right? And then there were two girls, one of which I had a crush on, right? So her sister, I had to fight her, and I put her down. And then I get to the girl that I have a crush on, and she's the last person I have to beat to be the winner of this whole tournament. Well, I had a crush on her, and I kind of took it easy on her, but she didn't have a crush on me or take it easy on me. She just went wham and just like slammed me down after I beat everybody to get to her. And because I relaxed my guard, and I have pictures of the whole thing, right? I have pictures of me beating the tough kid, all the other people, and then I have pictures of the girl like foot sweeping me, and you know, the sensei is just looking like, what the hell? Like that's his expression in the photo as I'm falling backwards. It's hilarious.
I just
So
see the sensei some Cobra Kai at the end of it, is yelling at you at the end of it, like, what were you thinking?
I know,
No
man.
mercy.
No mercy, sweep the leg.
Yeah. You know what? That's true. Okay, so there's another story that X11 brought up. Okay, again, we're kids doing, you know, sparring, right? And I'm not a tall man by any means, but they paired me up with some like kid who came up to my chest, and like he was younger than me too. And so we're sparring, and I'm gonna take it easy on him because to me he's like a little kid, but the kid is wailing on me. He's like, you know, like hamster fists, like, and he's scoring points on me. And I'm thinking, I don't want to get beat by this kid in front of all the parents. So I just reach back, and I just throw a hard punch at what should be someone's chest, forgetting that he was only at chest level, and I clocked him right in the face, which you're not supposed to do, right? You're supposed to do focus shots where you stop. And I just full on hit him in the face, and he fell down and started screaming and crying, and all the parents are looking at me with hate in their eyes. I'm disqualified, you know. But it's like, what are you going to do? This little kid is like, you know, fists of fury, like just beating me on point. I didn't mean to punch. I forgot how short he was.
Hey,
So, yeah.
You know what? The important thing here is it's your story, and you can tell it any way you want to.
There you go. I'll have to send you the photos though of me beating everybody except for the girl that I had a crush on.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be great to see.
Yeah,
Did you guys, Jimmy, did you do any sports like that in high school? Where you were like I wrestled in high school.
No, I played basketball. That was my primary sport, and then played baseball.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a little skinny guy though. Like the guys I wrestled, like I was 6'2" in high school and like weighed 155 pounds. And all the guys that weighed 155 pounds were all like way shorter and way stockier than me. So it was always awkward, but I did well. I mean, I went to state. It was fun. I got creamed at state, but
you can get those limbs around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was a leg riding machine.
Like a spider crab. You just, you know, wrap yourself around them.
Yeah, leverage.
We didn't have that kind of like that mixed, you know, the girls and guys wrestling back then, you know. But I didn't do the wrestling. I played all sports. And then in high school, I got in the party crowd and, you know, playing guitar and drinking beer. So I did not play any sports in high school until senior year for football. The girl that I was with said, hey, I want to wear a jersey, you know, on Friday nights, go sign up for the team. And the team had already gone through Hell Week. And I went to the coach. I'm like, look, you know, this is my senior year. I know I haven't done anything here, but, you know, and I started as starting cornerback. So, cause I'm fast. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, football was a drag for me. I was a wide receiver, and our coach's son was the running back. So that tells you how much they threw the ball.
So you blocked.
Yes, I was a glorified blocker pretty much
Yeah.
freshman and sophomore year until I finally said, hell with this, I'm sticking to wrestling.
But I definitely saw a theme with you there, Sith, about the girls always getting in the way of what you wanted to do and being the blocker there.
Yeah, and you know, I'm so lucky now because Lady Sith's, I mean, I couldn't find a more perfect like partner because she's at Disneyland with her parents for like a 3-day stay because Avengers Campus, right? She is going to Avengers Campus and I'm not. and she texted me, she's like, I bought you a day one Avengers Campus shirt, right? And so it's like, you know, she's definitely all into the nerd hobbies. You know, we like the same music. If I've had too much to drink, she drives me home. That's like, in fact, that's kind of how our romance began, is because I bribed her with food, right? You know, going back to the Craigslist thing where, you know, I wanted her to be the singer so I could just party. I was like, look, I know you probably, you know, you're in your early 20s. You probably haven't had a good meal in a while. I will take you to a steak dinner if you'll drive me so I can drink these 10 beers and play guitar. And she would. And then, like, I swear, I think the food won her over because, like, she would look at that steak with these big eyes, like she had, because she'd been eating macaroni all week. And, you know, the love just sprang from there.
Right?
The way to anyone's heart is really through their stomach.
I'm
You heard it
telling
here
you,
first, folks.
Yeah. Yeah. Although if you watch the YouTube videos, you can see over the duration of this pandemic, I'm getting bigger and bigger, right? I've now switched to a large size shirt. Yeah. I was like a medium, you know. In fact, Pressable Defects sent me a medium shirt and I said, look, fellas, I can't wear this anymore. Can you send me a large? And they said, no, Lady Sith said, you have to, you know, motivation to get back into the medium. You have to lose weight.
I wish I had to get back into a medium. I'm still trying to get back into a 2X.
Me too, brother.
Yeah. Good times, man.
Yeah, man.
See, we got a setup here at our house where the first one home is the one who cooks. That's how, you know.
Okay.
Because, you know, our kid, if there's not food when he gets home, forget it. It's hangry time.
Uh-oh. I want a hangry kid. I don't have any. I have pups, no kids yet, but I'm preparing.
No, but we've always shared the food duties. Whoever's home. So I've been on vacation this week, so I've been cooking every day.
Nice.
She grilled Monday. My wife loves to grill, and she's way better at grilling than I am. And she'll sit there and she'll have the potatoes out and just a whole thing, and it'll be this whole massive meal. But
man,
and then, you know, we're not those buffet people, right? We'll eat one plate and we're full. So we stop going to buffets. We go there, we'd eat one plate and all right, I'm good. I'm good too.
I've been sitting here searching for Hallmark on YouTube and
Jimmy's all over it, man.
Yeah. And, I mean, you've hit something, man. There's nothing like that out there.
Well, I tell you what, because you had me at Aloha is the big Hallmark event that's launching in like 2 days. And then we're going to, when they're all excited after that, then Phil and I are going to go live. So, you know, Jimmy, you got to watch Bridal Wave and, you know, maybe pop on.
I may do it. I mean, like, I'm not joking. That's awesome.
Jimmy's got it written down right now. Jimmy's got it in his search bar. He's serious.
What else you could do too, Seth, is review all the old Elvis movies and get that crowd.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. That could be your thing. Or like, you know, I mean, you watch The Thing like how many times a week? Like, what if you had like a Thing channel? I'd watch.
Oh.
I mean, how many things can you get? Like, are you still, every time you watch The Thing, are you learning anything new, a little nuance, this or that?
Sometimes here and there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something you catch, no matter how many times you watch something. There's like, whether it's in the background or in the forefront that you didn't see.
Yeah.
And there's always something.
I don't know if I told you, but I saw Kurt Russell and his son at the batting cages in LA. Gosh, it must have been in the 90s or early 2000s. But they're in near Ventura Boulevard, which is a big street there. Kurt Russell was there at the batting cages. Really nice guy. I've always been a fan of his.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his old Jack Burton.
Wait, what's that?
That's
Big Trouble in Little China.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, okay.
That we did with him, and also Escape from New York and
Snake Plissken, all those. Yeah, for some reason I didn't get into the Big Trouble in Little China. But did you know he was like in Westerns? There was a short-lived TV show called Quest that he did, and he was also like a kid in a Civil War movie. I want to say that Disney put out where he was a kid in the South.
Yeah, well, he started out as a child actor for Disney.
Yeah, so it was I think it was like Mosby's Rangers or something like that, right? Mosby was one of the cavalry guys for the South during the Civil War. So if you look it up, he was in that as well.
And he's in one of my favorite sci-fi films, and that's Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate's cool. Yeah.
Love that. But yeah, I've been a Kurt Russell fan, and he's one of the actors who's the longevity of his career is amazing. And now his son's killing it. His son was great in Overlord, then he was great in Falcon and Winter Soldier as U.S. Agent. So
I'm all about U.S. Agent, man. I thought Wyatt Russell did a great job. And he was also in that movie Goon 2, I believe, the hockey film.
I saw the first Goon. I didn't see the second one because I didn't. Yeah, it felt like they were reaching. Was it good or is it worth watching?
It was really good. No? Yeah, okay. Definitely good. Yeah, I don't know if actual Dracula's in the chat still. He'll know hockey.
The Goon 1 was really good. I didn't know they had a second one.
Yeah. That was definitely worth watching.
5 years later, I think they made it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we lost Jimmy, though. He's all about that Hallmark now.
I am. I've been sitting here. I mean, like, no joke. I've been sitting here looking through all these things. I'm like, dude, that's genius.
Well, I'm still working my way through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but, what's his name? Brett Dalton, who played Grant Ward, he's been in Hallmark films. So I was wondering how many other, like, Marvel actors have crossed over from, like, a comic property into Hallmark.
How many seasons into that are you?
I'm still at the end of season 1.
All right. So I am an unapologetic, unabashed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. And that is one of the few shows that I thought got better every single season. Like every season, the show got better. The first season was up and down. The second season, a little less up and down, but it was still there. But it kept getting better and better and better. And by the time it ended, man, it was just so good. It was so solid. But every season got better. It was amazing. Too many people jumped off right away.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I never watched it because I heard, there's so many things to watch. And someone had said, hey, it's not that great. But I've been doing, I do cardio at lunch. And I decided, hey, let me give this a shot. And I'm like, damn, this is actually pretty good. What were they thinking?
I love. She's great.
Chloe, she needs to play Dr. Aphra. She
was a K-pop star for a hot minute.
Really? No way.
Look her up. Look her up on YouTube. You can watch some of her K-pop videos.
We need to get her in Hallmark.
Yeah. She's
There's so many possibilities with that idea.
Yeah. Jimmy is going to be my business partner in this, I tell you.
You just got Jimmy'd.
Yeah, you just got Jimmy'd. Well, yes.
The nice thing, too, about the Hallmark is, so Phil, who's in the chat, he sent me like a whole script, like of how to kind of go through the show. Because, SpineTicks is kind of like we're on the seat of our pants, just kind of, hey, hanging out. But like he had some really good, like a format for the show and all kinds of really good questions and things. Like he's really good at structure, and I'm not so good at that. So I think between the two of us, it's going to make for an interesting show.
No, that'll be fun, man. I think that's cool. I really do. I think it's fun, and I don't know. I just think that's going to be funny. I'll be definitely watching that.
Well, I think on Instagram, the people were like, yo, is that the Eazy-E Records guy on Hallmark?
But then Eazy-E reviewing Hallmark movies?
Yeah. But you remember Ice Cube, remember when he started doing the family shows, man? Remember that? So
Snoop Dogg will do anything too. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. That's right.
You mellow out, right? I'm not out there ganking. I'm hanging out talking to you guys.
Now, speaking of that, we have been going for an hour and 20, so we gotta start wrap. We don't go 7 hours like SpineTicks. Me, Jimmy, and Jason are too old, man. We're gonna fall asleep on you.
No worries.
So we gotta start wrapping this up. I would say probably the next 10 minutes. So let's start getting some closing thoughts on what you want to finish with, and we'll work our way out. And but this has been a blast, dude.
Oh, I've had a ball.
Yeah, this has been great. I mean, I've been watching what you guys do. Really enjoy it. I didn't know Jimmy much at all, so this has been really good to get to know Jimmy. Gary, you've been on the channel.
Alone now.
That's all right.
Oh no, you got a new best friend, pal.
I heard from the last show you're a hugger, so I can't wait for that.
I'm 100% a hugger.
You know, Slot always posts, you know, the hip hop stuff of the day on Instagram. What I would love for you three homies to go on Saturday night SpineTicks when you got a chance and enjoy that fun and wildness over there. You let me know.
The usual suspects on SpineTicks.
7 hours or 5 hours. I can't hang that long.
Nobody's got to do it
too.
Yeah. Well, it's like you see Ultra, right? Ultra Maximus in the chat. He comes in like about 2 hours in, and he kind of picks it up. We have shifts. So like I start with like 7 guys, including T Ravis, who you know, and then they start tapping out, right? But I keep going. I crush a lot of beers, and I keep going. And then people are like, "Hey, can I come on? Can I come on?" Real Rude 6 is another guy who's in the chat. He hops on, and so nobody's got to stay. I'm the only one who really stays there for the 7 hours, you know. But I'm drinking like 10 beers. That's, you know, got to take a lot of leaks or get like a cat box or something. You know, it's like that's why water tonight, man. You know,
well, the one show I was on couldn't get any airtime after, so.
And there was all of us.
Yeah.
You guys, it's 8 p.m. Pacific time on Saturdays. You just coordinate it when you guys can come on, and you know, we got space for you guys.
Cool,
sure. I know about long streams. I've been on Mark's stream before, and that's gone on for like 4 or 5 hours. So,
wow. Yeah, I mean, I would honestly. It doesn't need to be 7 hours, but you start drinking, having a good time. Sometimes guys in the UK are waking up and it's like they're 4 or 5 in the morning. They're getting on the show. But I think a good, you know, like 4 hours would probably be enough time, because we only go live like once a week. Some shows go like 3 times a week. We just kind of stuff all our content in that one show. So.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to.
I just got to know ahead of time so I can not be on call that night.
Yeah, I know you're the one, like you're usually on call or something. You were on one Saturday night show, and Debucha got it taken down from Pressable Defects, right? Because he said some stuff, and we had to pull that stream down.
Oh goodness! But Sith, thank you so much for being on the show, dude. I've been wanting to get you on for a while. I know the guys have wanted to talk to you for a while. Absolutely great time. I feel bad chasing us out, but
hey, no worries, man.
I got to get up at 4:30 and get my kid ready, get him to school, and get to breakfast. I know Jimmy's got to work. Jason just does what Jason does.
Jason's on my time zone, man. He's gonna,
Jimmy's early, man.
Jimmy's gonna be up doing Jason's homework. An early riser too. I'm just picking on him because usually we pick on Jimmy.
Jimmy ain't getting any sleep tonight.
I've already put a bunch of homework music in queue here, and I'm ready.
All right, man. You watch Bridal Wave, man.
Bridal Wave, right on his. Yep, it's right after the show.
Come on,
right after the show. Bridal Waves.
Nice.
We'll lead out like we usually do. We'll start with you, Jimmy. We'll go to you, Jason, me, and then we'll let Sith lead us out.
All right, guys. Until next time.
Slot it up, comic book world.
You know me, guys. Keep it casual. Sith?
Watch them Hallmark movies.
Right?